Hello everyone, and today we're going to be getting the Platinum Trophy for Arknights Endfield. This game released earlier this year, and honestly, it's so good. I played it on a whim after seeing millions of ads about it on YouTube and the PlayStation Store, and it hooks me in pretty quickly. The main draw for a lot of people is the factory building stuff, which is some of the best I've seen in a video game since Satisfactory. The open world is also really fun and rewarding, and both aspects of the game feed into one another in a really satisfying way. Now, this is a gacha game, so, you know, but the pan saves it. I also wanted to say that I'm not sponsored for this video, though the developer has been sponsoring a lot of YouTubers to play this game. If you're watching this, my business email is in the bio. Speaking of which, my last video did incredibly well, and I'm really close to getting monetized, but I'll need quite a few more subscribers before that can happen. So, if you're in the 99% of viewers who aren't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. And if even half of you subscribed, then I'd be there already. Anyway, thanks for listening to me yap, and with that out of the way, let's get into it. This game has 35 trophies, and most of them are to do with story progression, but there are a fair few for doing random bits in the open world. Since there are so many trophies for story progression, I will explain it briefly as to not slow down the video too much. After loading in for the first time, there are quite a lot of linear story segments, so I'll be skipping those entirely. The first achievement we get is Process Awakening, for completing the first story mission in Valley 4, which is the first area of the game. In this bit, we fight a lot of the first main enemy type, the Landbreakers, and mainly do a few tutorial and exploration bits, ending in a boss fight against this big dude. Pretty cool. The game opens up a bit at this point, and we're relatively free to explore the open world. Well, at least the bits we've unlocked so far. The next achievement we get is Arts and Flow, which is for triggering arts reactions 5 times, and physical statuses 5 times during combat. The combat in this game is pretty interesting, because unlike other games in this genre, your whole party is out at once. This leads to some more interesting party building, because not all of the members need to be built to be playable. They can act as NPCs, they can buff you, and they can do all sorts of useful status effects based on certain triggers. Anyway, our next trophy is Friendly Retention, which we get for repairing shared facilities 10 times. These are a bit like the chiral network buildings from Death Stranding, so you could make the argument that Endfield is a Strand type game. But it's probably better if you don't. You can also place down message signs like in Dark Souls and in Elden Ring, which can lead to some pretty funny situations like this one. At some point around here, we also unlock the factory system, and as I said in the intro, this is some of the best and most satisfying factory building I've seen in a while. It's mostly used to craft consumable items and gear for your operators, and also things that you can sell for money, but the really cool thing is that it stays running while you're offline, so you don't have to just sit AFK for 3 hours while your storage fills up. We won't be covering the factory stuff too much until we start unlocking achievements for it later on in the video, but I just wanted to point out that it started here, and it's really fun. Our next few trophies are all combat related. Combined Arts is granted for performing 100 combo attacks with your teammates. We get Attack Interruption for interrupting charge attacks, which basically means using an ability to parry the big attacks that some mini-bosses do. And Smart Annihilation is given for eliminating 30 enemies with turrets. Now, this is another thing done by the factory system. You can build turrets out in the open world, which is really fun. So you can use them for farming certain events and things like that. Later on in the game, you use them to defend your factories, which also is really fun. Next up, we get Valley Investigator for completing an investigation report in Valley 4. These are unlocked based on having specific text logs that you pick up around the map, and we just happened to find one pretty early on. Now, if you've played other games like this, perhaps one that starts with a G and ends with Genshin Impact, you'll probably know about the unlockable containers that give you premium currency. If you don't know, basically this game has a ton of these crates in the open world, and they give you a small amount of the currency that you need to roll for new characters. Though, that said, it's pretty forgiving, so it's not all too bad. At this point, we've opened 50 of them in the starting area, so we get the trophy Valley Crate Master 1. We've also been upgrading our party, so we also get the trophy Promotion 1, for promoting one of our characters to E2, which is basically the second tier of skills and levels. Back into the open world, there are a ton of these robots that need repairing. Aw, poor robot. You have to do a small puzzle to fix them, but it's quite quick and usually worth it. We get the Delta Savior trophy for repairing 10 of them. The next trophy we get is an Edge First Tuned, which is for getting a weapon to tier 2. The weapon system is quite a bit like the operator promotion system we've already seen. We've been progressing through the story quite a bit, which has involved a lot of tutorialing, but also quite a bit of the actual story content too. We also have quite a few of the side areas unlocked, so we can start unlocking things there too. The next trophy is Reunited Fragments, which is for collecting 50 Auralines in Valley 4. Auralines are an item that can be spent on upgrading your character's stamina so that you can dash and climb more, kind of like the system seen in Zelda and Genshin. We then get another story trophy, Barrier Breaker, for completing a mission a little bit past halfway through the Valley 4 story. In this mission, we take down a few anchors, which are made by the second main enemy type, Agaloy, and shortly after, fight a boss which is basically a triangle with 3 phases, one for each side. This is what unlocks the final sub-area, so now we can really start getting stuff. Valley Crate Master 2 is given for collecting 100 Valley 4 crates. We've also unlocked all 28 fast travel points in the area, which gives us Valley Anchorer. At this point, we're very near the end of the Valley 4 story, and there is a quite difficult boss coming up, so I continued to level up my party and got the Promotion 2 trophy for reaching level 60 with one of them. We beat the boss after a few attempts. They are really annoying, and if I remember correctly, they were nerfed significantly within the first few days of the game's release. This also unlocks the final outpost in Valley 4 for the Valley Outpost Builder trophy. Oh yeah, I forgot to explain outposts. There's a lot going on in this game, so forgive me. Outposts are basically these little bases that house NPCs that you can trade with for money. You can also build factory buildings here, which are usually very limited in space, so unlocking new outposts is very handy. The funny thing is that you're using these NPCs' land to build stuff, and then you're selling it back to them, remotely, even though it's being produced like 20 feet away from their home. Also related to the outposts are the depot nodes, which can be used to package up resources we've made and deliver them for a larger profit. Or, more commonly, get someone else to deliver it for you. This also hasn't got any achievements associated with it, but I just wanted to point it out because it's a cool mechanic. Anyway, on that topic, we also research all the tech in the first tree for Industrial Apex of the Valley. Research points can be gained from these wiggly dudes who literally explode when you collect them. Thank you for your service, wiggly dudes. Now, I've said the word Valley a lot over the last few minutes, so you'll be pleased to hear that we're finished with the Valley 4 storyline with this next achievement, Conference of the Four. Pretty much immediately after this, I continued through the story into the second area, Wuling, and completing the first mission there gave me the Trek Through Nature trophy. The story here is really good, so I ended up doing as much of the Wuling story as I could, and unlocked Arrival at Wuling for it. Wuling is going to be expanded in the future, so this is just what's available now. Wuling City is also really well designed and gives me really good hopes for the game's future. It's just really beautiful. Also, I wanted to point out that Japan has a restaurant in Wuling, which is really cool. Future Vinistera here. Literally a day after I recorded this, they updated the Wuling story, but there aren't any more trophies, so I won't be covering it today, but yeah, funny timing. But just to say, the bosses and story are really cool. Like, just look at this cutscene. Okay, back to the video. The next trophy is a bit of a funny one, and it requires you to go all the way back to Valley 4. You need to find 2 specific spots on the map to fall into some really big holes. I did this really close to when the game released, so there was basically no information about it on the internet, except like one image on Google Images, which I clicked on and then Imager was like, nah, this isn't available in your country, so I had to figure it out from the really low resolution thumbnail image on Google Images, and literally go pixel by pixel to find where it was on the map, and yeah, it was a pain. Anyway, for that saga, we get the Auditors Trapped trophy. Next, we got the Nexus upgrader for upgrading our ship, the Dijon, to max. Also, I forgot to explain about the Dijon. Here, you can send your operators to work, spend time with them, and engage in a casual bit of stock market manipulation with your real-life friends. True story. The next achievement is also slightly annoying and requires you to have all auto miners active in Valley 4 at once. this wouldn't be too bad, but they get clogged up pretty easily, so you'll have to delete some resources to get them moving again. For this, we get the fully rigged and digging trophy. We've only got a few trophies left, so it's time for some tidy up. Promotion 3 and Promotion 4 are gained for leveling up an operator to E4 and level 90 respectively. Fully powered armament is unlocked for promoting a weapon to T4. And we earn companions for completing story quests for the operators Wolfguard, Yvonne, Gilberta and Levitane. The next trophy is really annoying and requires you to hit an enemy off of a 20 meter or higher fall. To do this, I went to this spot in the starting area and did a plunging attack off the ledge to the enemies below. It took me a few tries, so don't worry if you're struggling with it. For doing this, we get the Protocol Sigma 20 meters trophy. Next, we get the Wuling Factory Pioneer trophy for researching all the currently available tech in Wuling, which will also be added to in the future. We also get Peak Explorer for getting to Exploration level 7, and Valley Crate Master for getting 270 crates. This isn't the max, but it's quite close to it. Finally, I had to wait a few weeks for these last two achievements because they didn't unlock immediately, and I had to wait about halfway through Yvonne's release. But I got the character, so it made this quite a lot easier. Umbral Monument was earned for completing 2 sets of 3 missions at level 60 difficulty. And finally, Monument C'est Moi was earned for doing the same 6 missions but in agony difficulty, so level 90. They also had some horrendous modifiers like forcing you to fight continuously spawning crossbowmen with a really high rate of fire, or 2 really hard bosses that tag team out and then at the end you have to fight them both at the same time. Anyway, we survived that ordeal, and with that we get the Platinum Trophy Endfield Industries. This game was really fun to play, and I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I even got my wife to play it for a few weeks, and she is notoriously cynical about gacha games. I'll be putting this at the top of the A tier, and I'm really looking forward to more content because the Wuling story was so good. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, and if you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing. It would really help me and the channel in achieving my goal of monetization, so I would really appreciate it. And, you know, if I get monetized, that means I can do it full time, which means more videos for you. And I also wanted to say I feel like I've gotten a lot more like myself when scripting and recording, and that feels really nice. I'm working on a few videos, some in the short term like Demon Souls and some incrementals, and some in the long term like Destiny and Save the World, so stay tuned for when those eventually come out. Thank you again for watching, and with that I will say, Endfield will never stop progressing.